Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 70 based on novel. So let's start. Boom boom boom. A terrifying energy beam also emanated from Zhu Lao's body, and then the next moment, it also slowly flew towards Du He, the sixth prince not far away. The energy beam whizzed away with overwhelming power, and the space was shattered in the path, as if it could not bear the power. Moreover, even the space around Du He was solidified, and the next moment, Du He's inner terror also permeated. His pupils shrank tightly, and just now he wanted to stimulate the fighting chi in his body, but he found that he was suppressed by the invisible spiritual power of the old Zhu, and the fighting chi could not be used. Such a strange suppression. Damn it. It's actually the undefeated god of war Ashes. The entourage beside the sixth prince Du He also said with a sullen face. Obviously, you can recognize this terrifying existence at a glance. This undefeated god of war is one of the most terrifying beings in the Fenxiang Pavilion. Even if the 5 of them are given 100 courage, they would not dare to provoke them. Just when Elder Zhu's terrifying beam was about to attack Du He, the 3 guards beside Du He also looked at each other, and then their figures flashed, and they came to Du He in an instant. Looking at the appearance, it was obvious that he was going to resist this Du He. After all, their mission is to protect the sixth prince, and even at a critical time, maybe they have to sacrifice themselves. He, the undefeated god of war bullies a junior like this, but you lose your identity. Even when the terrifying beam attacked the 3 guards, a very loud voice accompanied by an illusory figure slowly appeared in the sixth prince Du He's side. As soon as the illusory figure appeared, he waved at the energy beam emitted by Zhu Lao, and the energy beam dissipated immediately. King Xianling. It's really been a long time. When Zhu Lao was looking at this energy figure, he also slowly laughed, because Zhu Lao made such a move, because he also found that there is some power in the dark. Du He's side, otherwise, with Zhu Lao's concentration, he would not have shot this Du He so easily. After all, Zhu Lao was representing the burning incense pavilion at this time. Elder Zhu's smile is quite bright, but anyone with discernment can find some different fluctuations in it. It is as if the elder Zhu hides a knife in his smile. Xiao Yan, why did elder Zhu come out? It's not like I heard that this old Zhu is the most dependent on the old and the youngest in the burning incense pavilion. Besides Xiao Yang, Mu Yingying also spoke slowly. This old Zhu is one of the strongest in our incense pavilion. How could it be possible to rely on the old and sell the old? At most, there are some arrogance as a strong. Cough, cough, cough. Xiao Yang also said slowly. Obviously these words were listened to by Zhu Lao outside the Fenxian territory, and he immediately glanced at not far from himself, and moved towards Xiao Yang who came by himself. This kid. Elder Zhu also said slowly, and the next moment, his pupils also became a little deeper, and then he stared at the illusory figure of King Xianling in front of him. Obviously, even if this is just the Do Qi energy clone of the Xianling king, it should not be underestimated. After all, the strength displayed by the Xianling king, when he selected his disciples that day has already reached the level of the 9-star Do Emperor, but he doesn't know that he has set foot on the level of a few turns. This is youngest bamboo. It is said that the status of this elder Zhu is second only to the main and deputy pavilion masters, and a few elders in the Fenxiang pavilion. Mu Feng also grinned. Oh? Hearing this, Xiao Yang stared at Mu Feng with great interest. Although Mu Feng could be trusted, when combined with the infernal corpse forest, Mu Feng seemed to know too much, right? My previous teacher was the elder in the Fenxiang pavilion, so. Mu Feng also hurriedly explained. No wonder. Xiao Yang suddenly said, when he heard the words. It seems like there's going to be a battle in the sky. Mu Yingying also said softly, and then the three of them stopped their steps, and then looked at the confrontation between the old Zhu and King Xianling in the sky. Today's incident was caused by your trespassing into the forbidden space of our burning incense pavilion, so you can't blame us. Elder Zhu was the first to speak. Obviously, no matter how unbearable the relationship between Fenxiang Pavilion and the Xianling royal family is, now that there is the doppelganger of the Xianling king, it is extremely difficult to kill the sixth prince, Du He. Moreover, Lao Zhu himself and the Xianling royal family also have a deep relationship, but Lao Zhu did not tell Xiao Yang, because Lao Zhu also did not want this grievance to spread to the next generation. What nonsense! Du He is the one I dispatched to your burning incense pavilion to lead you to the Xianling Emperor pond this time. So you treat him like this. King Xianling also glanced at the 5 people behind him, then turned his head and said yes. Old Zhu said viciously. Du He, who was on the side, didn't dare to speak out. Obviously, he just tried to enter the burning heaven territory without permission. Now that this old Zhu found an excuse, he was speechless. Ha ha, King Xianling, your ability to confuse right and wrong remains the same as before. But this is my burning incense pavilion, not your Xianling royal family. Elder Zhu also laughed, and at the same time, an arrogant and unruly silver fighting spirit permeated instantly. Humph! King Xuanling's energy clone also snorted coldly and then, unwilling to be outdone, released an extremely huge force. At this time, in the periphery of burning Qianyu, old Zhu was surrounded by silver fighting qi, and King Xuanling's clone was also slowly wrapped by a yellow fighting qi, which caught everyone's eyes. And a yellow vindictive aura also slowly flowed, and then the invisible 2 auras were secretly stalemate outside the Fen Qian territory. I didn't expect you, an immortal, to actually touch this threshold. King Xuanling's pupils shrank tightly in the next moment, obviously feeling an extremely strange power from the silver grudge on the old Zhu's body. He, it's not a problem to deal with you. If you want to run away, like 100 years ago, you can try. Elder Zhu also said in a calm manner, but the unquestionable voice in his voice could not be faked. 100 years of shame, this king will take it back sooner or later with interest. King Xuanling's energy clone also said slowly, but the next moment, an extremely terrifying force also slowly disappeared from Xianling. The king's energy clone is brewing. But before that, I also want to try to see how far you have reached. The mysterious figure of King Xuanling's energy avatar, which is also an illusory figure, slowly made a very eerie sound, and then stared at Zhu Lao. The next moment, the yellow vindictive aura also emerged from within King Xuanling's body, and then gathered in his hand to form an extremely dazzling bead. The seemingly inconspicuous beads, but the power contained in them actually surprised Du He and Xiao Yang. Because they also felt the terrifying power contained in the yellow beads, if it erupted outside this burning heaven territory, then this burning heaven territory will also be severely damaged. It's actually a broken Z bead. Du He's pupils also widened tightly, and then his eyes fixed on the yellow bead on the avatar of the Xianling king. That bead. It seems unremarkable, but with Du He's eyesight, he can naturally feel the strange power inside. The power contained in the yellow beads. It seems to be a bit like the power of life and death. That yellow bead. Just when Xiao Yang was surprised, a slightly surprised voice came from his body. Master, what is the strange power in this yellow bead? Xiao Yang also asked, obviously at that moment, when Xiao Yang used his huge soul power to detect the yellow bead, terrifying the fluctuations are also instantly repulsed. Moreover, Xiao Yang had never felt this kind of power. If it wasn't for Xiao Yang's strong physique, he would have ended up in a rather miserable end. Under Xiao Yang's perception, the power in the Xianling king's yellow beads seemed to contain a trace of the power of life and death. However, Xiao Yan had no doubt that if the yellow beads were picked up by himself, undoubtedly, there is only one fate, fall. It seems that the terrifying strength of this Xianling king has also reached the 6th rank of the 9-star duty. The Golden Dragon King also said slowly, obviously thinking about something. Is the 9-star Do Emperor above rank 6? Xiao Yang also muttered in his heart. What about the power of life and death? The next moment, Xiao Yang's pupils also became hot, because from the perception just now, the reason why the yellow beads had such a terrifying power must be because of the strange life and death force. Ha ha, this power of life and death is a good thing. Because the sign of a strong fighting immortal is the power of life and death within the body of fighting chi. And this power of life and death can only be condensed by stepping into the 9-star Do Emperor and entering the 9 revolutions. When the power of life and death in the body condenses to a certain level, it will also be promoted to Doxian. Doxian, Doshin, is to cultivate to the realm of detachment from life and death. The voice of the Golden Dragon King also appeared slowly. Hearing this, Xiao Yang frowned, as if he was thinking about something. The next moment, in the depths of Xiao Yang's soul realm, a dark brown soul light group also vibrated slowly, and then fell silent again. What is this? Xiao Yang also muttered, and it was obvious that the one who had just made a noise was the holy flame soul seed obtained in the Yin Corpse forest earlier. This King Xianling seems to have the fluctuation of holy flame. The King of the Dragon also said slowly the next moment. Holy flame. Is it really in the Xianling royal house? Xiao Yang heard the words and also discovered the extremely weak flame fluctuations before the Xianling King clone. Based on Xiao Yang's experience, although this King Xianling possesses some power of the holy flame, it does not mean that he devoured the holy flame. Although this is a clone, in my opinion, the price of this clone is quite high, and it can also exert nearly 80% of King Xuanling's power. It seems that this trip to the Xianling royal family seems to have become more interesting. The Golden Dragon King also smiled slowly, and then the next moment, an invisible force also slowly passed into the strange fire and the ancient ruler behind Xiao Yang. On top of that, Long Yi accepted this power, and also found that his power that had been stagnant, because of being sealed for a long time, was slowly recovering. It seems that the Xianling royal family is really worth a visit. Xiao Yang also smiled slowly, then looked at the battle in the sky. A contest between 2 powerhouses at the peak of Do Di. Humph. It's just a little trick of carving insects. If it's your main body here, it's worth fighting. But your avatar's strength is too weak. In that case, the 5 of you should stay in my burning incense pavilion today. Elder Zhu also discovered the yellow bead in King Xuanling's avatar, and then said plainly, with the extremely proud tone in his voice, can't hide it at all. Then let's try it. King Xianling also snorted coldly, and then slowly opened his mouth. The yellow bead in his hand was also slowly lifted, and then walked towards the space where Elder Zhu was. Everywhere the yellow beads passed along the way, there was a shrill sound invariably in the space, and an extremely strange black and white light group slowly wrapped around the yellow beads, and then walked away towards Zhu Lao. King Xianling, the grievances between you and I will be settled with you sooner or later. Elder Zhu also said slowly, and the next moment, the silver fighting spirit all over his body slowly condensed in front of Elder Zhu. Lei Yinhu. The next moment, a powerful force condensed by old Zhu's silver fighting spirit also slowly formed. Xiao Yang saw that, in front of Elder Zhu, a thunder fox also formed in front of Elder Zhu, and then with monstrous destructive power, attacked viciously with King Xuanling's yellow bead. Bang bang bang. There was only a slight noise from the collisions one after another, and Xiao Yang and the others also saw that the yellow bead was actually attacked by Lao Zhu and the silver thunder fox. It was cut in half abruptly. Boom boom boom. After the terrifying yellow bead was chopped in half by Zhu Lao's silver thunder fox, it also exploded instantly, and the terrifying power erupted violently outside the burning heaven territory. On the other hand, the silver thunder fox attacked the clone of King Xianling reluctantly. As if resisting the yellow bead, just didn't use much power. Hee hee. I didn't think that even if you didn't rely on your status as a battle formation master, your strength would be enough to overwhelm me. King Xuanling's clone also smiled slowly, and then he raised his head quite a bit when he saw that the terrifying Lei Hu was about to attack him. As a noble palm, he gently waved at the 5 people behind him, and the 5 people disappeared instantly. Ha ha, Zhu Jin, don't be too complacent too early. Some things, I will really get them sooner or later. After King Xuanling's clone finished speaking, it also turned into a cloud of smoke and disappeared without a trace. What the is this King Xianling doing? Old Zhu also muttered. The next moment, old Zhu's eyelids shook violently, and then his eyes narrowed. Impossible. That kind of thing is absolutely impossible. When Xiao Yang saw this tilde, he was also a little puzzled. He didn't know which old Zhu Lao played. Elder Zhu, are you all right? The next moment Xiao Yang rushed to the sky where Elder Zhu was and said to Elder Zhu, I'm fine. Everyone is here, right? Elder Zhu also pondered for a while, then glanced at Mu Feng and Mu Yingying behind Xiao Yang and said, It's all here. The 3 said in unison. Let's go now. Zhu Lao also said slowly, and then the next moment, Zhu Lao raised his somewhat depleted palm, and waved slowly towards the space where the 2 of them were just now, and suddenly an inexplicable force appeared. Then repaired some broken spaces outside the burning heaven territory. As for the power that erupted from the yellow beads, when King Xuanling's clone dissipated, it also dissipated naturally. Yeah. Xiao Yang and the others knew the purpose of their trip after hearing this. That is the Xianling Imperial Pond in the Xianling Imperial family. This time, the 3 of them, Zhu Lao led the team. With the testimony of Zhu Lao, the Big Buddha, the 3 of them are also full of confidence. After all, they just know that the relationship between the Burning Incense Pavilion and the Xianling royal family does not seem to be very good, but now that Zhu Lao is in charge, then even King Xianling would not dare to be presumptuous. After all, this old Zhu was the one who repelled King Xianling just now. Although it was only a clone, it was a real repelling. Cough, cough. A few violent coughing sounds also came slowly. Obviously, the dispersal of the clone also caused a lot of influence on King Xianling. I didn't expect this bamboo ember to survive the terrifying explosion, and its strength is so terrifying. If I let this go on, it will inevitably become a big worry in my plan in the future. Among the Xianling royal family, in the most luxurious hall in the imperial city, a figure slowly opened his eyes and then said. At the entrance of the main hall, the 3 resplendent big characters of Jingluan Hall are also slowly hanging on it. In the hall, it is also resplendent, and there are some steps in the hall, slowly moving towards a throne at the commanding heights of the hall. At this moment on the throne, a man wearing expensive clothes slowly opened his eyes. There were only 2 people in the hall at this time. One person is King Xianling sitting on the throne. As for the other person, he was sitting beside the throne, quietly and silently, and then holding a Bingyu fan. His whole body revealed an air of elegance and wisdom, and at a glance, he knew that it must be the celebrity beside Xianling King. He looked at Xianling King gently. King. You have to pay attention to your body. Such a long-distance avatar crossing is also extremely exhausting. The handsome man with a feather fan beside him also said slowly. I didn't expect that the invincible of war in the Burning Incense Pavilion, Zhu Jin, didn't die. This is really beyond my expectations. King Xianling also opened his eyes, then glanced at the figure next to him and said. There was obviously some reproach in his voice. How can it be? That Zhu Jin is not dead. The man beside Xianling King heard the words, his pupils shrank, and what made him even more incredible was that the Xianling King in front of him actually glared at him. King Xianling is now the ruler of the royal family of Xianling, and Wenzi also knows that although he is the confidant of King Xianling, it is inevitable that King Xianling has other thoughts. After all, no matter what, the siege and suppression of the undefeated god of war, Zhu Jin, was planned by King Xianling and controlled by Wenzi. I remember that 100 years ago, King Xianling was beaten by Zhu Jin and fled. So he was hated by King Xianling. So he was encircled and suppressed 100 years ago. Even if King Xianling didn't take part in the siege, he knew about the huge lineup. A 9-star fighting emperor and 2 8-star fighting emperors surrounded this bamboo ember. At that time, Zhu Jin's strength was not even reached by the 8-star Do Di. How could such a terrifying lineup fail? Moreover, King Xianling was also quite depressed. The 3 who were dispatched at the beginning were members of their Xianling royal family, and they have not returned until now. Wenzi, you say, what should this matter be? King Xianling also looked at Wenzi with a smile and said, by now, this matter can only be pushed to Solomon. The top priority is Wang, your breakthrough in Doxian. Wenzi also laughed, then walked to King Xuanling's side and whispered a few words to him. Is this true? King Xuanling's scolding expression just now disappeared after Wenzi's whisper. At this time, there was also an extremely fiery wave in King Xuanling's pupils. Then send an order to Solomon, and ask them to send someone to encircle and suppress this bamboo ember. Otherwise, this burning incense pavilion will have this bamboo ember in charge. When the sect competition comes, their plans for Solomon and the ghost world will not be realized. In addition, it is said that this Zhu Jin only has the strength to just set foot on the 9-star Do Emperor. King Xianling also smiled slowly. The snipe and the clam compete for the fisherman's profit. My King Gaoming. Wenzi also smiled slowly, and then retreated. The power of holy flame. The power of the 9-colored swallowing python. It's all mine. King Xianling also said slowly. In the burning incense pavilion, Lao Zhu ended the battle with King Xuanling's clone, and took Xiao Yan and the 3 to the Xianling royal family. Although most of the Shentian San area was forbidden, with Zhu Lao's strength and status, naturally also use the space channel, which is also a good solution to this problem. Inside the space tunnel, Xiao Yang and the others didn't say much, because they all found out that this old Zhu had just been thinking about something since he fought against the clone of King Xianling. Outside the burning heaven territory, a rather delicate-looking girl slowly appeared. What? Isn't this the breath of old bamboo? Why haven't we met? Secretly went to find that Xiao Yang, who had obtained the 10th rank Do Emperor. Can't find it. I just happened to encounter such a fierce battle, and I missed it. The girl also complained, looking at the space outside the burning heaven territory and said, Hee, you girl, the sect competition is imminent, so don't hurry up and cultivate. I know I'm playful. A loving voice also slowly appeared outside the burning heaven territory. There was no reproach in the voice, but only slow love. Daddy, just let me go out and play. Staying in this burning incense pavilion every day makes me suffocated. After the girl finished speaking, she also rolled up the man's sleeves with both hands, and her big watery eyes were full of coquettish taste. Hee, I will let you out, but not now. Wait until Elder Zhu brings the 3 of them back and cultivate for a while, and the competition within the sect is over. The man also spoke slowly. It's a promise. The girl was also extremely happy, and the next moment she returned to the burning incense pavilion and disappeared without a trace. Hey, it's really not a good girl to stay. The man is actually Liu Ping, the deputy head of the Qiandian temple. He. I really envy you for having such a daughter. Mu Shuzi also appeared slowly, and then glanced at the delicate girl who disappeared without a trace. What's there to be envious of? This girl knows that she is playful all day long. If it weren't for play, her current strength would have reached that level. Liu Ping, the deputy head of the Qiandian temple, was also furious, but Mu Shuzi also knew that this was just a father of sternness. The outside world is not very peaceful. When this girl goes out with this kind of temperament, she is also terrified. Mu Shuzi also shook his head worriedly. Indeed, the outside world is no better than our burning incense pavilion. In the burning incense pavilion, she is a well-deserved little princess, and has many brothers and sisters to help her, but if she goes out, I don't know if she can stand this slump. At this moment, Liu Ping still had a bit of majesty as a strong man, and some of it was just a father's worry about his daughter. But you can rest assured. After staying for a long time, things in the sect have been resolved. Let the people in the 3 halls go out together, so that we can take care of them. Mu Shuzi also said slowly. Your human palace seems to have found a treasure this time. Xiao Yan, this guy is actually favored by Elder Zhu. The palace master of the heavenly palace also spoke slowly. Hearing this, Mu Shuzi also laughed slowly, and then he didn't say much, looking at the sky outside the burning incense pavilion. The most populous place on Xianling University 6 belongs to Xiantian-san, but the area of Xian-San-Tian is also quite vast. The northern part of Zhuangtianshan is the place where 9 major sects and many sects are stationed, and the 9 mountains, where the emperor's energy is extremely strong, is also here. As for the Xianling royal family, it is located in the middle of Xiantian-san. In order to resist the expansion and invasion of the Medusa family, the Xianling royal family has to invest a lot of manpower and material resources every year for defensive deployment. After all, the drama of the Medusa family poison and some insidious means are hard to guard against. The east of Zhuangtianshan is an endless desert area, and many tributaries of the Medusa family are life again. Since the main body of the Medusa family is composed of snakes and scorpions, this also created their cold-blooded name. However, living in the extremely hot desert is definitely not a good thing for the Medusa family, which is why the Medusa family wants to attack the Xianling royal family. Because the Xianling royal family is located in the middle of Xiansan, if the Medusa clan in the east of Xiantian wants to expand their territory or relocate, they must go through the Xianling royal family, which has caused the situation between the two. As for the southern part of Zhuangtianshan, it is said to be the uninhabited 100,000 southern border, where there are many beautiful legends and unknown secrets. In the west of Zhuangtianshan, it is the world of Warcraft. Shabu Shabu. The figures of 4 people in a row slowly emerged from a spot of light. Follow me. The old man, who led the team, also said slowly. Yeah. The 3 people behind also responded at the same time. Taking a closer look, these people are the 4 old bamboos who went to the Xianling royal family from the burning incense pavilion. The distance between the Xianling royal family in the middle and the northern sects is also constant, but with the strong man Zhu Lao, the journey of a day came to the Xianling royal family in a blink of an eye. Is that the Xianling royal family? Mu Yingying also spoke first, biting her lips slightly, and then what was reflected in her beautiful eyes was an extremely prosperous city. The undulating city walls of dozens of feet tightly surrounded the prosperous city, and even if they were separated by constant distances, they could vaguely feel some of the most obscure and powerful atmospheres in the city. The Xianling royal family is located in the middle of our Xiantian Santian, and the towering city wall that stretches for tens of thousands of miles is also to resist the invasion of the Medusa family. Remember that the Xianling royal family paid a considerable price to defend against the Medusa family. If it wasn't for them preventing the Medusa family in the middle of the Xiantian 3 days, we would be the ones who would suffer. Bamboo the old man also said slowly. The Medusa family. Why do you feel extremely uneasy? Xiao Yang heard the words and looked up at the location of the Medusa clan standing in the distance. For some unknown reason, it made Xiao Yang feel extremely uneasy. It's true that the Xianling royal family has been attacked by enemies before and after. Mu Feng's eyes kept turning, and he said. Mu Yingying, who was on the side, surprisingly changed into a colorful dress, showing her seductive figure perfectly. However, Mu Yingying didn't care about the words of Zhu Lao and Xiao Yang, and was quietly thinking about something. Strangeness. Something seems to be calling me here. Mu Yingying also raised her rather delicate jade neck, and stared at the city surrounded by walls of dozens of meters. Xianling City, the royal family of Xianling. The Xianling royal family lives in this Xianling City. Let's go. Elder Zhu also said slowly. The 4 of them followed one after another, and then slowly walked towards the gate of Xianling City. And 1T.I. and 1T.I. Stop. Please show your identities. At the gate of the city, an entire army was stationed, and the well-trained soldiers were constantly walking back and forth, obviously heavily guarded, and then said to Elder Zhu and the others. Hearing this, Elder Zhu didn't hesitate too much. After all, the relationship between the Xianling royal family and the Medusa family made it reasonable to have a strict investigation. Then Zhu Lao flicked his fingers, and at the same time, a silver wooden sign with the 3 characters of Fengxiang Pavilion, inscribed with dragons flying and phoenix dances, slowly appeared in front of several soldiers, and then the next moment disappeared in a flash. This is. Even if it just passed by in a flash, several people at the gate of the city knew the identity of the person in front of him. Those who can have this kind of token are all leaders among the sects. A real high rise. How dare they, these little soldiers, dare to be presumptuous? Sir, please. The next moment, the soldier stood at attention and slowly performed a standard etiquette towards old Zhu. The soldier maintained the proper etiquette, then made a gesture of invitation, respectfully facing old Zhu. The 3 of them are my students, so it's no problem, right? Zhu Lao also said indifferently. This? The soldiers at the city gate also hesitated. Although there is no doubt that this is the leader of the sect, but a token can only enter one person. After all, it is the predecessor of the Xianling royal family, Xianling City. Entering Xianling City is undoubtedly close to the Xianling royal family. If the Medusa family or some malicious people enter, and the royal family encounters an assassination plot, then it is the soldier's dereliction of duty. Even 10 lives are not enough for him to atone for his sins. And 1T.I. and 1T.I. But the soldier didn't dare to offend the old man in front of him, because the wooden sign that the old man had just displayed was the real high-level sectarian. He, your lord came to our Xianling city, and brought a few people into it. It's natural and reasonable. Please come this way. Just when the soldiers at the city gate were helpless, a hearty voice appeared slowly with the figure of this armor covering the whole body and showing a pair of bright eyes. The soldiers at the city gate also seemed to be relieved. Tiger Teeth. Prep Team Leader. A 6-star fighting emperor level powerhouse. Head of the regiment. The soldier guarding the door also saw this familiar figure, and then slowly said, as if he wanted to say something, but was waved by the figure in front of him. Senior, go this way, the main entrance is a passage for ordinary people to enter. The officer also said slowly. En. Zhu Lao heard the words and led Xiao Yang and his group into another inconspicuous passage. These guys must be the people from the Fengxiang Pavilion, who came to our Xianling imperial family to soak the Xianling imperial pond this time. The person called the head of the group also spoke slowly. You idiots. If you encounter a warrant from a sect-holding sect in the future, no matter how many people there are, just let it go. A character of that level is not something we can resist. After Hu Ya finished speaking, he also shook his head secretly. Obviously, the old people who took the lead just now, just from the breath, suppressed Hu Ya too much. Hu Ya, a 6-star fighting emperor, felt fear in the depths of his soul, and the strength of the old man was probably quite tyrannical. A character of this level may only be handled by the old monsters in the royal family. In addition, strengthen the inspection efforts, and don't let any suspicious people go. I heard from the above that my king and the others will have a big move recently. Hu Ya murmured. This video will end here.